Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Grim Dawn. We are playing on hardcore. We have reached ultimate difficulty, and last episode we defeated the Warden Krieg after a long drawn out battle in which he really didn't have a chance. But of course that means this episode we're gonna move on to the Apocalypse Cowboys. Darius Cronley and his gang have, for the third time in this series, taken up residence in the Markovian foothills, and it's time for us to punish them. It really is that simple. And it is good to see that our health bar is completely unimpressed by all of these cowboys. Okay, there's even more. Excellent. We'll just see what else we can drag in here. But yeah, killing this guy was the first mission here. So check. Ooh, dynamite. It's been a while since we actually found some of that stuff. That's good. These murderers, they're dual wielding, so they're spec'd for attack speed. And of course that is going to cost them dearly. Rest in peace, scum. There's a couple more over here. Also, I picked up a bounty to kill Nicholas Balthazar, who should also be somewhere in this general vicinity. So most of the time we do end up just going through most of the area, so wherever he's hiding, I'm sure we'll find him. But if I remember just playing through in veteran mode for the first time, then of course at this point you're somewhere between level 15 and 20. You'll have all yellow gear, maybe one or two pieces that are maybe green gear instead of yellow. Let's see if there's anything down below here. Oh, since we are looking for another dude. Let's have a quick look if there's anything here. Probably not. You might have one or two pieces of green gear, and if you're really lucky, or if you're twinked, you might even have some pieces of blue gear. It's that's the normal experience. And in this area, you will not have a lot of life. Your resists are going to be terrible. Now, you might be lucky if you got like 10 or 20 points in a couple of resists, but it's not going to be like this where most of your resists aren't going to be above 60 or 70. And of course, though, we're mostly blue with some purple items, and the lowest bits are green. So there's a really big level of difference in power level here. Ooh, unique golems. I remember the golems being the very scariest bit from normal. Okay, there's some stunning going on here. And they're trying, they're definitely trying. Just look at them just pounding away. But there's no real follow-up behind their attacks. Yes, a single attack probably hurts if you are not maxed out on your resists. And so their stunts, they definitely have a bit of an impact. But as you see, I've just been flailing away at this green guy. Slowly is going down, but no, it's difficult to actually attack him if you're frozen. The add-ons have died, and the frozen dude is slowly murderizing himself. But foes that... Well, these are elites. Or heroes. I keep mixing those terms up. On veteran mode, just a yellow dude, not let alone a hero, but just a yellow one, or just a pack of like 2 or 3 of the white ones. They can murder you. One is gonna knock off 3/4 of your life. If you get hit by 2 of them in a row, you're dead. It's as simple as that. You're just gonna be dead. Here, no, I'm just grinding my way through. So it's almost, I mean, it's of course it's all based on my experience so far, but it's almost as if the first playthrough on normal or on the veteran, whatever you want to play, as if it's more difficult than the playthrough on elite or on ultimate for that matter. Which is interesting, because you would expect that normal is going to be the easiest time, and that elite and ultimate are going to build upon that and just increase the difficulty more and more and more, and actually make it into more and more of a challenge. But it could be that it's just a peculiarity of the specific build that I'm playing, because this is a melee build. So of course in melee you will have to get into the face of the mobs, you will actually have to get hit. I'm not really focusing on doing a lot of damage in melee, I'm just focusing on soaking up a lot of damage, which does require a certain level of gear investment and devotion tree investment in order to really maximize on that. Yeah, I'm curious. Though the next character that I'll be playing, just the contrast between the veteran mode playthrough and the elite, and potentially afterwards the ultimate playthrough, just to see if the experience I'm having now, you know, playing through that the higher difficulties are easier than the lower difficulty, if that's a common pattern, or if that's not the case. But I suspect it's actually, to a certain degree, a common thing. Because of course, early on in the game, you don't have anything to defend yourself with to... Oh wow. Unique of those, the raptor things. Or not uniques, heroes. If you compare it to, say, a Path of Exile, then no, playing through on normal, first 30 or so levels of the game are, in my opinion, they're the most boring part of the game. A, because there's no real threat, no real challenge, and because your character really is just not capable of doing anything, because the interesting part of Path of Exile is of course the skill system, and you don't really get access to a lot of support gems until you beat General Gravities at around level 28. That's at least the gem requirement of those, the level requirement of those gems. And no, especially these guys actually do a bit of damage. That's good. That will give him that. But after that, in Cruel and in Merciless difficulty, you also have the problem that your character, if you are reasonably well geared, that's the one caveat to make there. If you are reasonably well geared, which I'd like to think this character is pretty well geared, then no, you can play through the game without too much issues. If you're undergeared, it's going to be more difficult. But no, if you hit your thresholds for health, if you make sure that your resists are maxed, if you make sure that your DPS at least has a certain baseline that's needed to progress through the game, and no, you're gonna do all right. And then the challenge is going to actually appear at the moment where you start running maps. And then the entire difficulty is under your control, because of course you can decide how difficult you want to roll the maps that you play. But the story playthrough is, because you have the capability of just really overgearing yourself, you can trivialize most of the content. And there, of course, yeah, the first couple of acts in the game, they are pretty ridiculously easy. Oh, pretty ridiculously, they're pretty easy. If you have a decent bit of gear, then you can blow through them pretty quickly. And I wonder if Grim Dawn has a similar thing. Let's quickly. Are you insane? It's safe there. We defend it. Join us. Ha! I didn't let him torch the house down. Sometimes it's yeah, trying to actually persuade the madman just ends worse. Okay, so we now have 2 things to go back to town for. Let's see, and then we walk around and wait, there was actually no way to get there. Sigh. Oh well, I get distracted a little bit by talking and, well, yeah. Playing the game on autopilot, it's ultimate difficulty. Sure, why not? Right? We have a huge health bar. Compared to some other characters that probably would have less. So it's alright. But yeah, if in this case, by just having a lot of health and having a fair amount of health regen, and having good resistances, I feel like I am trivializing quite a bit of the game just because I can simply ignore a lot of the things that the game actually throws at me. Though, thinking back on Elite, we of course we did have an interesting / challenging fight against the Logorian, and the combined damage output of all the add-ons as well as the Logorian himself, it was enough to make me go back, to make me just run around and actually kite some of the damage and things like that. I'll track down your partner, sure, I'll do that. Let's see, wasn't there something on the other side? Yeah, I think so. Hello, treasure chest. I think I'll take this loot. Thank you very, very much. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the next character just to see if there's going to be an actual level of challenge, or whether it's going to be just a lot of, well, quote-unquote mindless grinding through the game in order to just get to a little bit of an adrenaline spike every once in a while. Yeah, this wand again, the same guy. I'm sorry, I rushed to judgment. So, let's see, there's a crystal in here. Of course, I have the problem where if things are too easy, I get careless, and if I get careless, I am not at my most alert when I do need to actually pay attention to what's happening. So for me as a player, it's actually better if the challenge level is consistent rather than the challenge level being just flat all the time and then spiking to lethality like once an hour. Now, if the game is just mind-numbingly unchallenging for, let's say, like 95 minutes out of the hour, and for 1 minute out of the hour, or let's say for even 10 seconds out of the hour, it's just the difficulty level just spikes up to, you click the get out of combat, or dodge these things right now or you're gonna lose your character. Then yeah, then there, in my opinion, then there's something wrong with the game balance. And I think that's actually something that games like RimWorld and Left 4 Dead actually use as the entire guiding mechanism for the entire game AI, for the storyteller that they use, or the AI director in the case of Left 4 Dead. But it's the same concept. There is just a process in the game that just keeps analyzing the intensity level of all the fights that you're doing and the scenes that you're in. And based on that intensity level and how you deal with it and how well you survive it, Let's just help them. Just look. I was looking for the elder. Bandits, help them out. Sure. Let's see. Just sell some of the yellow items. More yellow items. Caster items. Sure. Double resistance pants. Not really. More caster stuff. Okay. And am I overflowing with yeah, I'm overflowing again with life flask. So my trick for that is simply to just sell half the stack and then just move over. So that way you always have more than enough of the flasks to just play through. But it's easy to just make it go. And that's yellow as well. Okay, cool. Anything they have to sell? Well, we'll just buy the crafting mats and... Okay, cool. We can continue. Yeah, it's only 16 minutes. We still have to find Nicholas Balthazar. What was he? They're free and hiding somewhere in the Markovian foothills. Perhaps in the mines? Question mark. Well, I'm sure we can have a look there. Because I seem to remember the mines are on the way to the Elder. But yeah. So I was talking about AI directors and difficulty curves and things like that. And so in RimWorld and Left 4 Dead, there's this background process in the game that continually just analyzes just how difficult the game is and how you're dealing with it, and the intensity level of the scenes, how close you get to dying. If in case of Left 4 Dead, you've got teammates that can, I think they can actually go down. You can patch them up again and things like that. It's a zombie survival simulator. But based on how you deal with it, it just analyzes how it goes. And both games, they try to space out the encounters, but keep it interesting. That's the most important part. They try to keep the game interesting for you. And continuous just pulse pounding action, that's gonna wear you down. But just the hour-long lull and then just this spike of just pay attention or you're dead also doesn't work. Because on the one hand you're just overstimulated, and on the other hand, in the other situation you will be understimulated. So you want to strike a balance somewhere in between. So they will have this rhythm to them. That's maybe like after every action they give you some time to recuperate, give you some time to patch up in case of RimWorld. So if you lost a colonist, then it's actually going to reset the cycle and give you like a couple days to actually replenish your team to rebuild your strength, because you will need the time to recuperate. And after that, it's just gonna start to build up the invasions and all kinds of other things that could possibly go wrong. Which, the thing that makes the game fun. That's the empowered eye of the beholder. So, gauge of weakness. It's a area toggle that gives everybody increased offensive ability. That's pretty cool. And it's a bonus to chaos and poison damage, some chance to avoid projectiles, ether resistance, terrifying gaze. Okay, if you're playing that kind of build, that's probably cool. So there's dynamite over there. Well, they have this rhythm to them where there's going to be small challenges that occur with a certain regularity, where you can just test your skill, where you can stay awake. Hey, this is Nicholas Balthazar, by the way. We were looking for this fella. And either they keep ramping up the difficulty, or every once in a while there's just going to be a surge with a higher difficulty or a higher intensity to the fight. And that's a bit of a more intelligent way to do it, but it also just requires more effort on the part of the developers, because they actually have to actively analyze the gameplay, the intensity of the scenes, how you are doing, how fast you're clearing, things like that. And they need to dynamically alter the game, so the way you play the game affects how the game is going to be in the future. Which, if you compare that with most action RPGs, that's often not how it goes. Most of the time the difficulty progression of the game is constant. The challenge of the game is constant. No, the story playthrough, you just have normal difficulty, elite difficulty, ultimate difficulty in case of Grim Dawn. In case of Path of Exile, it's normal, cruel, merciless. Once the expansion comes out, that's gonna disappear and you just get 10 acts that you play through, and after that you will be at the end game. But the level of the monsters is gonna determine just how things scale up. Let's see, there is an entrance. But this idea of just that the game can get analyzed. Isn't there just a way up where we can go? Yeah, because that's where we can get, need to blow things up. And this is where the Elder is. Yes, okay, I'm remembering correctly. Good. But if in Grim Dawn, instead of, or in addition to what we have right now, where we just have to have the normal playthrough, and now you have the areas, they all have a minimum and a maximum area level, and there is like this ideal curve compared to where the player is. So, I'm level 73. This is a level 74 skeleton. That's just like one level above me. There's some guys in here that are 75. There's 2 above me. I even see a skeleton knight here. That's a yellow dude. He's level 77, so he's 4 levels above me. So, this general area, it tries to stay within like 1 and 4 levels above you. And I will do as you ask, thank you. Some areas try to provide you with more challenge, the roguelike dungeons, things like that. And the Tower of the Depraved, the cultist tower back in Act 1, that's a good example. If you go in there, it might actually be like 5, 6 or 7 levels above you on average, or at the base level. That might actually be what they're just trying to aim for. But if you are geared well enough that just simply increasing the level, that's not gonna do much. This is a reflective dude, by the way, so that's gonna be basically my own strategy, that I'm just getting reflected back at me. Look at me, don't care. But if in addition to that, you would have more of a... Well, you can actually say there is a little bit of a rhythm to it, because every once in a while you run into a heroic like this. This reflective dude. And this is like a small momentous battle that you are fighting that... It should feel epic, I suppose. It should feel like a challenge. But this build, I just sit here. Just holding my left mouse button. If I want to spice it up, I click my right mouse button to do a war cry. And then if the cooldown timer goes off, I can activate my reflective shield, do another war cry. I might blitz him for a change. But there's not a lot of stuff happening. And yeah, just trying to think whether that was the case as well with some of the other builds. As I say, it could be that my perspective here is really completely warped because of the builds that I'm playing. Let's also blow up the doors, then we can report that back as well. And I do realize now I picked the build, and it's turning out to be an insanely safe build for actually playing through hardcore the first time all the way into ultimate. So maybe, nope, this perspective, it might be completely unfair. I'm aware of that. But that feels like a point I should still make, and just as an interesting observation of how could action RPGs work with that in more dynamically scaling the difficulty of the content. So the barricade has been destroyed. Then there's another quest over here. Yes, so I suppose we could keep the amulet. That's probably going to be one of the choices. We can go back and hand in the other quest here. But no, the analogy here with something like a Left 4 Dead or a RimWorld is, of course, that no, we have normal mobs. That's just that's your easy standard grind. There's some yellows in there, sprinkled in there, that are slightly special. There might be a reanimator in there, or there might be a shaman in there. That in an ideal world, it would require you to handle the situation differently. I know if I see a priest, that's going to be my priority target, because, well, healers in all games, they must die first. Because they really empower the rest of the group. So we got some reputation here. Excellent. You work fast, Darius. We have to hit them hard and fast. And then we will be on it. Cool. So more reputation. How are we doing here? Nice. Less than 1700 points remain. Cool. And Stephen Skinner. Yes, you are also happy. Excellent. And we got this Skinner family shield. It's gonna be incorruptible Imperial ring. I like it. But that's not what I got. It was the family seal. Physical damage, a boatload of health, and some pierce resist. Potentially worth considering. But look at this, incorruptible Imperial ring. This is a ultimate version of the, I think the ring we found back in normal, the incorruptible gold band. So the gold band gives it the increased armor. The incorruptible by itself gives only these mods. Or maybe the Imperial bit gives us something. But either way, we have the same stats, but just better. With the exception of the small increase to armor. But I'll be sure to swap this one in later. Okay, so now I'm no longer distracted by the actual gameplay, so I can actually finish my point, and then we can call this an episode. So you got your regular mobs, that's just your normal grind. Then you got the yellows and things like that sprinkled in, just to provide small blips of extra challenge. And then every once in a while there's a heroic in the case of Grim Dawn, or a cluster of heroics, which should really increase the difficulty. And then your massive spikes are going to be the boss fights, the well in advance signaled boss fights that have their own mechanics. They usually have their own room. Bosses, they have certain rotations or maybe evolutions in the fight. Often those are the bosses that you have to go after for certain quests. I was trying to think. I don't think there's any purple mobs that are not tied to any quest, and it's the purple mobs that have something special to them. Now, it could be the Warden. No, it's just those big dude, and you kill him, he becomes a big demon dude. I think Shanks, the cowboy dude that we kind of waltzed over, I think he was technically purple as well. But yeah, in this case, we had an easy time dealing with it because of our retaliation and reflection mechanics. I think that really was pretty much a hard counter to the setup with the low damage pinpricks at range from the Cowboys, because it just got reflected back to them and they got murdered pretty quickly, and the regen just nullified all the damage they were trying to do. But what if the normal predictable pattern in the game is not enough? The storyteller or AI director approach to the game is that the analysis of the story is then, okay, the challenge that's being thrown at you is not enough, so let's up the difficulty a little bit. So it could be that, in case of Grim Dawn, for example, it could be analyzing, okay, what kinds of bosses or what kind of heroes, for example, are you strong against? What kind of heroes are you weak against? Which manage to inflict more damage to you, which ones are easy for you to take out, and then shift the balance a little bit so that the things that are more difficult to take out, that now in a pack of like 3 or 4 heroics, you might not have one that's difficult to deal with, you might get 2 that are difficult to deal with, and then suddenly the balance of the situation shifts a lot. So if you have a lot of resist, if you have a lot of regen, it might be that you just more often see like witch doctor kind of things, or like witches or something that that curses you, that lowers your resistances, or that penalizes your life regeneration, or in some way takes away an advantage that you have or lowers it, and then in combination with more incoming damage it can be balanced. But if you're playing a glass cannon build that really doesn't have a lot of life but has a boatload of damage, it could be that as long as you just can see things and just shoot and they die, then you will be steamrolling a lot of content. So then the AI director can respond to that by having tougher enemies in the way, or enemies with maybe certain elemental very high resistances, or maybe immunities, or like monsters that when they die they spawn something else, or that have a resurrection mechanism to them, or just large numbers of enemies, like a whole boatload of grobles, but just a couple of those big grobles in between, so that all your attacks, they'll just hit the small grobles and give those large grobles more of an opportunity to attack you. So that it's just going to be more of a dynamic and more of a counter push. It's almost like the game is trying to actively play against you in order to increase the challenge, and most notably to give you a better gaming experience where it doesn't really matter what kind of build you're playing, that the game will always provide you with a certain level or certain intensity of difficulty no matter what you're playing, rather than that the difficulty of the game is always the same, but based on the builds that you're playing, that you will experience the intensity completely different. And I think that might be a way to make the gameplay experience, especially in Grim Dawn, like for example playing on Ultimate. If I can literally just sit here, or just with one hand just drink a cup of coffee, and with the other hand just hold my mouse button down and just walk through, and that if that's going to be good enough for 99% of the content, then I don't know. I think there's still a lot of room left to improve the game experience, to just make it more engaging and more fun for the entire playthrough, rather than being able to just push through most of the regular mobs and then just have a giant slugfest with the boss, or the reverse, where you just push through most of the content, and then the moment you encounter a boss, the boss one shot kills you, and it's end of character, or you get resurrected back in town, depending on how you're playing. But either way, hope you enjoyed this chain of thoughts. Let me know what you think. Your experience with action RPGs, but also just other games where difficulty is handled in a different way. If there's something or a way that it's been solved that I've overlooked, let me know. I'd love to hear it. But for now, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.